Hello students, so we have already started the rotor design. So let us now go through the squirrel cage rotor design. Okay, so it is also divided in certain theories. So let us see it one by one. So first one is the number of rotor slot. So in this theory we have to discuss the parameters which we need to consider for the selection of a number of slots in the rotor. So you already know that rotor is a slot and tooth type of a structure in case of a squirrel cage as well as in case of a slip ring. Okay, and in this slot and tooth type of structure we are providing rotor bars or squirrel cage bars. Okay, so the first parameter for the consideration of number of rotor slot is cogging or magnetic locking, and the second one is the crawling. So what is cogging and crawling, that we have already discussed. Okay, and you have to explain this thing over here. Additionally, we are going to see certain rules for selection of rotor slot, so and we have to follow that rules to avoid this cogging and crawling. So that also we are going to see. Okay, so I hope you understand these 2 points according to our previous discussion. So let us go to the third point, that is the vibration and noise. So when the rotor is running, the teeth are moving with respect to the stator teeth, and this results in the rapid variation in the flux density in the air gap, so that it produces the rapid changes in the force of the attraction between the stator and rotor teeth, and these teeth will respond this variation in the force, and they will create the vibrations, and these vibrations are large in the machine with less number of poles, as the variation in the forces are more concentrated, and the noise production in this squirrel cage induction motor can be strongly supported by the unbalanced magnetic pole. So you already know what is unbalanced magnetic pole, that when gap irregularity is there, the rotor shaft tends to bend into certain direction and making the air gap more and more smaller, and again the attraction force between the stator and rotor is going to be disturbed. Okay, and when the rotor runs, the unbalanced magnetic pole moves around the air gap and at definite speed, and it will cause the rotor to vibrate, and if this phenomena attains further development, it may make the rotor to operate dangerously, or the operation can be impossible. Okay, so an analysis shows that the vibration torques are produced if the difference between stator slot and rotor slot. Okay, so let us denote it as SS and SR. Let us say SS is the stator slot and SR is the rotor slot. So difference between these two, if it is equal to plus or minus 1 plus or minus P. Okay, where P is number of pole. Okay, so one can have positive, negative, and number of pole can have positive, negative number, and you can have total 4 answers. Okay, for this, taking both as a positive and negative one by one. So this difference between stator and rotor pole is equal to this much number, then there are going to be vibrations. Okay, and further there are some undesirable slot combinations are also there. Okay, which is equal to plus or minus 2 plus or minus P. Okay, same SS minus SR. Okay, so certainly if you suppose you keep a number of pole to be 4 or 6, okay, and if you put P is equal to 4 and 6, okay, taking positive and negative sign, you will have 4 different numbers, and that number should not be the difference between your stator and rotor slot. Okay, so we have to avoid this thing, okay, prior to the design. Okay, so these three are the point, and fourth is the voltage ripple. So voltage ripple is nothing but a variation in the voltage waveforms. Okay, so the harmonic fields produced by the stator current induces the harmonic currents inside the rotor, means whatever rotor current is there, which is because of stator current, okay, as both are mutually connected, and it will reflect back additional harmonic field into the stator. Means if stator has harmonic, it will develop the harmonics in the rotor, and this rotor harmonic will reflect back into the stator, and this causes the ripples in the terminal voltage and also additional iron losses. Okay, so voltage ripple in the stator winding will also be observed. Okay, if you keep the number of rotor slots such that the difference between stator and rotor is any of the number, okay, for these two equations. Okay, so there are certain rules that we need to follow if you do not want any abnormality. So if we talk about the squirrel cage rotor and slipping rotor, then constructionally squirrel cage rotor is very much easy to look and to okay, if you see its figure, okay, it is not complex magnetic circuit even, but its design is more complex, okay, because of these two phenomena, cogging and crawling, and these rest of two also. Okay, so how do we avoid these abnormal conditions? Okay, how do we select the number of slots so that we can avoid all these four abnormal conditions? Okay, so there are certain rules. Okay, so let us see what are these rules. Rules for selecting the rotor slots. Okay, so over here the first rule is that the number of rotor slot should never be equal to stator slot. Means first rule, SS stator slot should not be equal to rotor slot. Both should not be equal number. Okay, and we can keep certain difference between both. Okay, but actually we make it larger or smaller. Okay, so that satisfactory results are obtained when the number of rotor slot are about 15 to 30% larger or smaller than the stator slot. See, number of stator slot you are directly deciding from number of slot per pole per phase, and that standard number you already have. Okay, if you have SS, then your challenge is to select SR. So generally we keep number of rotor slot to be 15 to 13% higher or 15 to 13% lower than the stator slot. Okay, so how I calculate 15 to 30% higher or lower? Suppose I have number of a stator slot, okay, then 15% higher means I have to multiply it by 1.15 times. Okay, or 30% higher means I have to multiply it with 1.3 times SS. So any number I can take between 1.15 and 1.30, because this is 30%. Okay, 30% extra. Okay, or 30% higher. Okay, similarly for lower, what I have to do? Okay, 100% minus 15. Okay, so it is going to make it 85. Okay, so 0.85 times SS. Okay, this can be a good rotor slot number. Okay, if we take 30, then it would be 70 or 0.70 times SS. Okay, so this is one range and this is also one range. Okay, from 70% to not 70 to 80, but I can say that yes, from 70 to 100, 85 to 100, or 100 to 115% or additional 30%. Okay, any of the number can be possibly or a good number for the selection of the rotor slot. Okay, so this is the first rule. Second rule, the difference between stator slot and rotor slot should not be equal to P, 2 times P or 5 times P, to avoid the synchronous cusps. Okay, so simply SS minus SR should not be equal to P, whatever number of pole are there, 2 times P and 5 times P, to avoid the synchronous cusps. So what is the synchronous cusps? So while the theory of Crowling, we have seen the graph of the torque slip characteristic. Okay, yes, over here it is. Okay, so in this graph, whatever characteristic you are observing, okay, taking the state from here to here, so this region is called synchronous cusp. Okay, synchronous cusp can be horizontal or vertical in nature. In this case you can see the vertical synchronous cusp. It means that the torque is higher, okay, and within very small speed range the torque of the machine is reducing drastically. Okay, from here to here, see, change in the speed is this much smaller, okay, but change in the torque is very big. Okay, so we don't want this abnormal phenomena. Okay, so to avoid this, the number of stator and rotor slot difference should not be equal to P, 2 times P or 5 times P. Okay, the third rule is the difference between the number of stator slot and number of rotor slot should not be equal to 3 times P for a 3-phase machine, to avoid the magnetic locking, okay, or cogging. Same way SS minus SR should not be equal to 3P. Okay, so this point is related to cogging, and the second point was related to synchronous cusps, okay, or indirectly Crowling. Okay, and the last rule, the difference between the number of stator slot and a rotor slot should not be equal to number of pole plus or minus 1 or number of pole plus or minus 2, to avoid the noise and vibration. Okay, so all the calculation or studies has been done earlier, and this rule has been formed. Okay, so if I summarize all these things, okay, then I can say that the combining all the four, I can say that SS minus SR, okay, it should not be equal to 0 plus or minus P plus or minus 2P plus or minus 3P plus or minus 5P plus or minus 1 plus or minus 2 plus or minus P plus or minus and plus or minus in the bracket P plus or minus 2. Okay, so all these combinations should be avoided while selecting the number of rotor slot. Okay, so you may think that if this much number we don't have to select, then what we have to select. Okay, so again you have to follow this rule, 15 to 30%. Okay, go for any number between 15 to 30%. Okay, and check if this rule is followed. Okay, if you find any number within this equation, then you cannot take that number. Okay, otherwise you can take that number. Okay, and mostly if you take the number of rotor slot 15 to 30% higher or lower, there is less possibility that they will fall in this category. Okay, so carefully you have to make the calculation. Okay, now let us go to one more theory, that is the reduction in the harmonics. Reduction of harmonics. Okay, so how to reduce the harmonic inside the machine, okay, in a synchronous motor specifically. So the first method you already know, that is skewing. Okay, skewing is nothing but the rotor bars are tilted at certain angle with respect to the shaft axis. Okay, I mean if I draw the side view, if this is the rotor and this is the shaft, okay, then the rotor bars will not be parallel to the shaft axis, but they will be tilted like this. Your bars will look like this. Okay, they will be parallel to each other, but they will not be parallel to the shaft axis. Okay, and this thing is called skewing. Okay, so the motor noise, vibration, cogging and synchronous curves can be reduced or even entirely eliminated by skewing either the stator or rotor slots. Okay, mostly we are going for rotor, not for the stator. Okay, and if either stator or rotor slot are skewed, the vibration or the variation in the flux density, magnetic pull and torque will be displaced in the time phase along with the core length, resulting in the more uniform torque and less noise and better voltage waveform. Okay, or in simple word, if I say that if let us say this is one rotor bar, okay, it is if we have a stator over here, then it is under effect of certain pole over here. Okay, let us say it is n pole, it is starting. Okay, and this is the starting point of this bar. Okay, and this bar is running like this. Okay, and whatever end is there, okay, that you can see like this. Okay, on the back side. Okay, and over here also we have same pole n. Okay, let us say this is n pole and this is also n pole, so we need to provide this skewing this way. Okay, that if the bar is starting with this n pole, then it should end at n pole only, it should not end at s pole. Okay, so these pole are displaced in the time phase. Okay, and that will make a better operation of the motor. Okay, so this thing we have to take care. Okay, so simply in order to eliminate the effect of any harmonic, the rotor bar should be skewed through a certain angle so that the bars lie under the alignment of same alternate polarity of the pole. Okay, or it should be skewed by the two pole, I mean. Okay, if n pole is there, okay, then one s pole will come and after that n pole is come. So this bar should start at end pole and it should end at next end pole. Okay, this way the skewing is done. Okay, so the angle between two adjacent harmonic pole, okay, is calculated by one simple equation. Okay, for the skewing we have to follow one equation. It is given by 360 by NP. Okay, where P is the number of pole and N is the order of the harmonic that you want to eliminate. Okay, and for elimination of nth harmonic, the skewing angle. Okay, so this is the angle between adjacent pole. Okay, falling under same harmonic. Okay, and the skewing angle, okay, it is given by, this is mechanical angle theta skewing angle. Okay, it is given by 720 by NP. Okay, as this is mechanical angle, I need to convert it into electrical, so simply I will multiply it by P by 2. Okay, so theta skewing, okay, this is electrical angle, is 720 by NP. So if I multiply it by P by 2, simply it will be 360 by N. Okay, for reduction of nth harmonic, the angle of skewing electrical angle is 360 by N. Okay, so if I compare the performance of the motor with and without skewing, then torque slip characteristic will look like this. Okay, I will get a smooth operation like this if I am providing the skewing. Okay, if skewing is not done, then abnormal phenomena will be there. Okay, and torque slip characteristic will look like this. Okay, so this is without and this is with skewing. Okay, you can get a better shape of torque slip characteristic. Okay, so this way you can reduce the harmonic. Okay, one method is skewing. There is one more method, uh, increasing the length of the air gap. So the increase in the length of the air gap will decrease the harmonic torque, obviously, because the flux has very longer path to travel from stator to rotor. Okay, so it can easily reduce the harmonic, but increase in the air gap length will increase the no load current, and it will make power factor poor. So the motor of high reliability, for mechanical reason, the air gap is made larger than the normal size. So when your power factor is not much concern, okay, you can increase the length of air gap, no problem. Okay, but one thing is there, with increase in length of air gap, power factor is going to be less. Also the magnetizing component will increase. Okay, so that is the thing with reduction in the harmonic.